afternoon, my dear children. So, in the last class, we were discussing about one of the short stories that you have from the text, but just now I got a message from I just saw the circular from the PU website that this story that we have been doing, it's actually removed from the syllabus for this current academic year. So, we're not going to continue, or we're not just going to, it's actually not a part of your syllabus. That's what I would like to tell you here. I was knowing it because nowadays we are living in WhatsApp era where we all get to know information on the fingertips. It was there, the official confirmation wasn't there. So I was just waiting for the confirmation from the board, and just now I got a message saying that this particular short story has been removed from your syllabus. Okay, so I'll just tell you which all the things that we have. You can just mark, if you have a textbook with you, you can just mark these things that we have, that we will be doing it in the class, because there are certain units, that total 4 units they have removed from this text, and nothing is known about the grammar. I think grammar, everything will be there, is what I feel. So you can just, I'll just read this, and probably you can tick that for this academic year. These are the things which have not been there or something. Okay, now the first thing that we have done, that is the gentleman of the jungle. It is there, so no need to worry about it. You have already written a test on that as well. After doing, or after discussing the gentleman of the jungle, the second unit that we did was a poem, right? So the School Boy by William Blake, you remember that, right? So even that is also there, and 1, 2 is there. Third, that is around the medicinal creeper, has been removed from the syllabus for this academic year. So we will not do that, alright? So straight away we will have to come to Oru Manishan. Okay, I'm just going to read out all these things which I'm going to read are retained, mean to say that they will be there for this academic year. So the chapters or the titles which I'm going to read now are there in the syllabus. So you can just put a tick mark if you have a textbook, or you can just take it down. You can write down these things. Once the textbook is with you, then you can mark it this is there for this academic year. Okay, so the retained syllabus for English, first PUC English for this academic year is the Gentleman of the Jungle. We have already done that. Then the School Boy, and then next you have is Oru Manushyan, and after that you have Babar Ali. Okay, now this is also a story. So from the prose, Oru Manishan is also a prose, and then you also have Babar Ali, which is also there. And then you have If I Was a Tree. So this is a poem. If I Was a Tree, then Watchman of the Lake. So this is also a short story, very interesting one. Watchman of the Lake, and then you have The Farmer's Wife. This is a poem. Okay, The Farmer's Wife is also a poem that you will have to study, or that the text has been retained. And then you have An Old Woman. This is also a poem. And then you have Two Gentlemen of Verona. Okay, so totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 prose units are there from the reflections now. Okay, what are those 9? I have read it, so I'll just repeat it once again. Maybe you can make a note of it. If you have a textbook, just put a tick mark saying that these things are retained. Okay, the Gentleman of the Jungle, then you have the School Boy, and then you have Oru Manushyan, then you have Babar Ali, then you have If I Was a Tree, Watchman of the Lake, The Farmer's Wife, An Old Woman, and the Gentleman of Verona. Okay, Two Gentlemen of Verona. So these are the retained units from your reflections. Clear? Now I'll come to the unit that have been removed. So you can just put a cross mark against those from the content page from your reflections text. Okay, the first thing that has been removed is the around a medicinal creeper. So this particular Then you have Money Madness. This is a poem. And then you have Frederick Douglass. Okay, so this is also an essay. Frederick Douglass. And then Do Not Ask Me My Love. Do not ask of me my love. So these are the 4 units that have been removed from this for this academic year from the PU board for the subject English. Okay, so I'll read again the units that have been removed from the syllabus. So starting off with the unit that we have been doing, that is around the medicinal creeper, then you have Money Madness, and then you have Frederick Douglass, and Do Not Ask of Me My Love. So these are the 4 units that have been removed from the syllabi. Okay, so hope I'm clear with that. So if you didn't get any units, or if you have any confusions with the pertains to the units that have read, you can just rewind the video and then probably you can just make a note of all the things that have read. Okay, now what do we do since we have already began? I have already begun with discussing around the medicinal creeper. So what I'll do is that in this class I'll just quickly tell you about the story. You can just understand the story and keep it for yourself. So I'm not going to discuss the question and answers, now I'm going to give you the notes for it. Alright, so what we will do is that we will just see what this chapter is all about. I'll just speak, just try to convince you people, or just try to tell you what the story is all about, and probably I'll try to wind it up today itself. Right? So in the last class we had discussed about the 3 characters here. I was telling you about the types of the narration. So wherever you find I, it is nothing but either the poet or the author, depending on what kind of text are you reading, isn't it? So in the last class we discussed, like, you know, that the author Poornachandra Thejasvi wanted to put some shade, isn't it? He wanted to put some shade to the coffee plants. So that is why they were just trying to prepare some bamboo thickets so that it can be saved. That is, the coffee plantations can be saved by the direct sunlight or something. And for that they were requiring something to tie, for which they sent Sanappa to buy some, to get some creepers from the forest. And meanwhile, when he gets Mara, okay, one of the characters was surprised because he said that this particular medicinal creeper is not to be seen at the time of requirement or something. So in all my wanderings in the forest with Masti, Baira, Apanna, Mara and others, I gleaned many things. Among them were a few things I learned about some of these plants and herbs. So author keeps on telling us about, like, you know, how he got interested towards knowing different varieties of the spices or the plants that are available in the forest, which can be used for medicinal purposes, or which can be used as the medicines, out of which the medicinal creeper that we are doing is one among them. Okay, now I'm going very quickly here because I just need to complete it. I just want to tell you the whole story so that you will be able to understand. Will I be able to do it? It's a very lengthy one, but still I'll just try to see if I can try to complete it. Now the forests are disappearing and the people who you know about these things are leaving us one by one. One must realize that if one disappears, the other becomes useless. I'm very keen to share the information I have with someone. Someone should be aware of those things, but whenever I try to discuss the unique properties of these plants and herbs with my doctor friends, they become annoyed, call me an ignoramus, and even squabble with me. That is, when I keep telling to my doctor friends about the importance or about the uses of these herbs or the medicinal plants that are available in the forest, they keep on telling me. They are surprised, at the same time they say that I'm an ignorant man. They kept on always, you know, those people, the doctor friends of the author, they kept him always fragile in the form, like, you know, he's talking something useless. Then that day, though Mara, tying up the plant, praised it to the skies, saying that every inch it was a medicinal, he did not tell me what exactly it cured. Whether he did not want to tell me or simply did not know, I can't say. I didn't force him. Mara spun such exciting yarns that instead of trying it to the tree, even if he had tied the creeper around his own neck, people were not likely to take him seriously. But his stories were marvelous, even when they were not true. I told you that whichever the stories of Mara could be told or could be heard, either it could be completely false stories, or they can be mysterious, or they cannot be something true to some extent. So people were not able to follow or believe what Mara's stories were, but for the author, stories of Mara were always marvelous. They were excellent stories. One day it seems Mara had gone to the forest to bring some bamboo shoots home. With his hands thrust into the bamboo cane, when he was cutting the shoot, he accidentally cut his hand. Okay, shoot, bamboo shoot, right? So when he was trying to bring that, he accidentally cut his hand. The sharp sickle, that's an instrument used to cut. A sickle had apparently cut an artery, one of the nerves, and it started bleeding copiously in spurts. Everyone around was alarmed, and someone brought a leaf, pressed it against the wound, and bandaged it with a cloth torn from one of their lungis. Mara held his wounded hand carefully so that it would not shake too much, and went to the white man, that is doctor, at Huli Hindalu for a proper dressing and the treatment. The white man got out of his first aid kit, cotton, medicines, antibiotic powder, etc., opened the bandage and removed the leaf. Surprise! And what was that surprise? There was no blood, no wound, in fact no sign of any wound having been there. Now the white man became angry with Mara. "You fool, are you joking?" he shouted. Mara showed him all the blood on his clothes and body and cringed him before saying that he was not lying. That is, there were certain circumstances which were meant Mara to believe or disbelieve the stories. But what has happened here is that he actually cut his hand while cutting a bamboo shoot. So someone brought him some medicine. So what I mean to tell you here is that yes, forests do have certain plants in the form of medicines. So when he went to the doctor, there was no wound at all, for which he had to listen to the doctor's sayings. Looking at all this, the Englishman believed Mara. He took that leaf that had been kept on the wound and told Mara, "Show me the plant which you plucked this leaf. I will give you my entire plantation." Mara took him to the forest, and even though they searched for an entire day from morning to evening, they did not find the plant which had the similar leaves. Now, the Englishman thought that Mara really did not want to identify the plant. He was angry because he thought that Mara was so greedy that even though he had offered him an entire estate, he was not satisfied. So he took out of his gun and, pointing at Mara, said, "If you do not show it to me, I will shoot you down." Now Mara was shivering and he started crying loudly. He fell at the Englishman's feet and begged him and said that he really did not know. I believe the Englishman, now really angry, and said, "Get out," and drove him out. So that is the doctor who wanted to find out the type of leaf that cured his wound. He could not actually find, though the doctor or the Englishman told him not to agree or not to show. The Englishman, that is the doctor, told him to show the leaf from where, or to show the plant from where he plucked this leaf. But to his excitement, the plant was not to be seen. So he starts, scaring him off with his gun or something, but still he couldn't find that particular plant. Hearing this story, I also showed my irritation and said, "Yours is a cock and bull story." Cock and bull, something which is not true, totally fabricated. If you had gone and searched near the bamboo bush where you hurt your hand, you would have not found the leaf and the plant. To which he replied with another story that the mongoose and the cow, that is cow peasant, that is one of the animals, also knew about this plant, and that when they go hunting snakes, if they are bitten by poisonous snakes, they immediately chew this leaf and thus cure themselves. So he keeps on telling one or the other story in order to hide the other things or something. That Mara did not have any teeth on the right side of his mouth. He had to chew everything on the left side. He was aged perhaps and they had fallen off naturally. But why only one side? I was curious. One day I asked him how he had come to lose all the teeth only on one side. So he was excited. That is, who was excited? I is nothing but the author here. Okay. So I asked him how he had lost the teeth only on the one side. He told me an interesting story. So again he started telling one more story, and that story was, it seems that they had fallen off long ago, and not as a result of his advancing age. Once he had laid up a trap in the forest to catch the rabbits. That is, he wanted to hunt the rabbits. He was worried that somebody else may get there before him in the morning and take away his catch. So he went into the forest before daybreak. That is, before it was breaking. That is, early morning he just went to the forest where he has kept the trap in order to catch the rabbits. The trap was empty. No rabbit had walked into it. Since there was a nearby stream flowing nearby, Mara decided to brush his teeth and wash his face before trekking back home. When he broke a small stick from a nearby plant to brush a third or a fourth time, he felt a very sore taste in his mouth. He thought that there was something wrong with the stick and he threw it. Before he could try another stick, he wanted to rinse, that is, he wanted to clean his mouth. He took some water from the stream, put it into his hand, and after churning it around in his mouth, spat it out. Surprise! All the teeth which had been touched by that stick fumbled out of his mouth. That is, they jumped out of his mouth. So now this is another story that Maharaj told whom? The author. He told the author. Thank God I was saved because I had not brushed all the teeth. Otherwise I would not have had any teeth left to eat even my food. I rebuked him. Hey Mara, if you want to tell lies, they must at least be believable. So he keeps on making fun of him, like, if you're telling a lie, you should tell a lie which should be believed, not that like whatever that comes to your mind you keep on telling. Mara said, can't you see that I have lost all those teeth? Then come and show me the plant. So again, even author also started like, if that is the case, then show me which is the plant or which is the stick that you plucked from the tree, and then started to brush. How can I show you the plant? There are hundreds of plants in the forest. You can do one thing, sir. You can try brushing your teeth with each of them. Then you can find out which one has this effect. So he keeps on telling it to even the author, like, you just keep brushing with the sticks of all the trees, because there are thousands of plants in the forest. And how can I identify that? Why should I? You are the one who is lying, and you have to brush your teeth with all those plants and discover the right one. So obviously, author also said, why should I go on searching for it? You are the one who has told me the lie. So by now what we need to understand here is that Mara is telling a lie is what we need to understand, but let's see what happens then. My God, there are so many plants in the forest, I won't live long enough to try each and every one of them. Hey Mara, if you keep trying out different ones, you may find one which is going to make your teeth come back as well. That is, even think of the positive side of the search. How can I say which type of a plant I still stumble upon? Just my bad luck if I get one which kills me. What if I am killed with any of the plants? Then why are you asking me to try? Because you are the one who is accusing me of lying. Suppose you come upon one that will bring back your youth. I don't even know I don't even want that. If I become ill, I will have to marry again. Let that be put, but don't think that such a plant does not exist in our forest. He said and told me another story. One more story. He keeps on telling the stories so that he can make the author believe him about the fact that he is not lying. Okay. So long ago, Mara had a friend of his laid trap to care. So long back he starts telling one more story, and that story was about a deer that they had to hunt. As they had to divide it equally between them, they took it near to a stream, skinned it, cleaned it, divided the meat. They wrapped their portions in some leaves and brought them home. In Mara's house, they got ready to cook. They prepared the masala with the spices, put the water to boil, and opened the packet to take out the meat. Surprise of surprises! Instead of the meat, there was a live wild duck. Look at it, wait. There was a wild duck. The moment it saw Mara, it jumped up and ran out of his house. When Mara was trying to catch it, as usual, Mara's wife ignorantly took the leaves and threw them into the fire. Even the wife is also well aware of the fact that whatever the stories that are being told by Mara are far from the fact, isn't it? So when I heard this story, I was speechless. I did not ask Mara for any elaboration or explanation because this was the height of his immense genius. It is no wonder that the white man of the Huli Hindu was prepared to give away his entire estate in exchange for those wonder plants. Wonder plants, they are referred to the plants that can cure any kind of illness, finding it out in the forest. Now it has been a long since I sold the estate, and Mara is also dead and gone. It is difficult to dismiss all Mara's stories and bunkum. Some little details remain to bother your conscience, and the total interest of the Mara showed me trying to argue with his convince of the matter, or lie, or tell the truth continues to bother us. Okay, so he keeps on telling one or the other story so that the people who listen to him, he makes it a very good way of, storytelling in such a way that people may find it difficult sometimes, yes, or they may find it very funny. The one example is like, that he tells about a story when he hunts a deer. Okay, so when they skinned it, when they divided the whole meat equally and wrapped up in the leaves from the forest, took it back home, and the wife wanted to prepare, they wanted to cook that, the meat that he has brought, but what happens ultimately? So when they opened the leaves, Mara tells that it was a live wild duck that came out of the meat. So there was no meat rather, but it was only the wild duck that came in or something. So like this, Mara keeps on telling the stories one or the other way in order to convince the way about the plants. But what happens in the later part of the story is that the author Poornachandra Thejasvi keeps on believing some of the stories, but some stories are meant as if they are away from the fact, or they are completely false stories. But yes, what I have done in the discussion of the pre-reading activity, yes, India is a country, or India is a land where there are so many different varieties of the plant that are available in the forest, which will definitely have one or the other kind of medicinal creeper. So what I mean to tell you in this title here is that it is not just only one medicinal creeper that they were looking for, but they were just trying to find out some herbs or the plants which can definitely have any kind of a medicinal value, so that those plants or the leaves of those plants can be used in order to bring down, or in order that can be used in order to cure any type of certain diseases or something. Okay, so what I mean to tell you here is that this particular chapter around the medicinal creeper is something which is an answer to the Ayurvedic type of medicine that India has been following ever since the evolution. That is why India is known for the Ayurvedic type of medicine, because we just try to find out certain things from the forest, from the nature, which will give you, which will give us rather a kind of cure for certain type of diseases or ailments. Okay, so around herb medicinal, it is not one particular medicinal creeper. So if this story would have been there in your syllabus, we would have gone in detail about the chapter. So what I request you is that since you have time, just try to read once again the whole story. Just try to understand. Okay, so when you read the story, see to that you keep in mind that it is not about only one specific medicinal creeper that the author is trying to talk to us about. So that is why he has titled this as around a medicinal creeper. So what you need to understand here is that this story is something which can be read as fun, which can be taken as very serious, discussion in terms of Ayurvedic medicine that we have in India. Alright, and then take or have your own ways in views of how exactly do they talk about these things, which are sometimes may be fun, because Mara is a typical type of a character who keeps on telling stories after stories in order to make the people believe. So there is a reference to the Britishers here in the story. There is a reference to the author himself, because he was the man who kept Mara as his worker in his plantation. Okay, so sometimes his stories are believable, sometimes his stories are unbelievable, and sometimes his stories are mysterious. That is, they have certain elements with respect to the holy books that we actually have something. Okay, so I will stop here, and just if you have interest, probably you can just read once and understand what this story is all about till the end of the chapter or something. So as I had started it in my last class, I just wanted to complete it by telling you the very gist of this story or something. So since this has been removed from the syllabus, so you are not going to expect any questions out of this story. It is only for the fact of your interest if you can just read and understand it for yourself. So I'll stop here, and probably I will be in the fourth unit we will take up in the next class, that is Oru Manushyan. Vaikam Muhammad Bashir is the author of this particular very interesting story, which I will start discussing it in my next class. Okay, so don't worry about it, but in the same video I have told you that which are the syllabus which are the units that have been retained for this academic year, and which are the units that have been removed for this academic year, which you need to definitely make a note of it. Okay, so as per the circular from the PU board, we will be keep on discussing about the units that we have in literature. So let us complete the literature part first, and then once you go back to the college after looking back from the guidelines and rules and regulations from the government, if the classes will start, we will start discussing some portions regarding your workbook as well. But right now, let us keep on discussing on the literature text. So in my next class, I will start the unit 4 from your textbook, that is Oru Manushyan. Alright, so you can just read if you are interested in that, or else you can just definitely you need to make a note of the syllabus that I have told you from this video. Clear? Either you write it down, if you have a textbook, just put the right mark and cross mark for all those units that have been removed for this academic year. Clear? So thank you very much, and I shall meet you in the next class with the continuation of with starting of my 4th unit from your literature text. Thank you.